It may be counterintuitive, but the best kept secret on how to wake up early is actually what you're doing the evening before. So, follow along to learn what to do to prep yourself to start your next following day on the right foot every day. So, why does what you do the day before make a difference on how your day actually starts the following day? Well, there's a few reasons, but before we get there, thank you for being here. And if you're new here, please click to subscribe. Love to have you follow along. But now, let's get into those reasons. In my other videos that talk about the 5 a.m. wake up routine, and that will all be linked in the description below, I've talked about sleep hygiene and circadian rhythms and how they ultimately affect your actual sleep quality. Now, if you're having poor sleep quality, no Herculean desire to get up early is going to make a difference if you're just plain tired. So if you haven't done so, please decide to watch those other videos because it all ties together here and it covers a lot of other aspects on how to successfully wake up at 5 a.m. But I want to talk more about the practical side of things as to why spending the time to prep yourself for the next morning actually helps. If you've tried waking up early and you're not finding it successful, well, then maybe this all sounds familiar. You wake up, you're groggy as hell, doubtful that you wake up like a beaming little rainbow, although my oldest son definitely does. And let's just assume you're not entirely coherent. Just saying, right? So, having a plan in place the night before when you are coherent actually helps set you up for success the following morning. But I want to talk a little bit about what else might be going on that kind of defeats you trying to get up early. So, I'm going to read my screen because there's some technical pieces in here. The most interesting thing, though, is that our brains are hardwired to resist change. So, just think about that in the back of your head for a second. The amygdala interprets change as a threat, and it actually releases hormones for your fear, fight, or flight response. And your body goes into a mode where it's actually trying to protect you from making this change. So, amongst your body not being entirely functional when you're waking up, your brain is also just like low key self sabotaging you too. So when you're trying to establish any kind of new habit and you know that 21-day rule, that's more anecdotal than actually based in science. So researchers have found, here's the technical bit. The time that it takes for your brain to adapt to a new behavior can vary from person to person, okay? And there is no fixed duration. Bad news there, guys. And it depends on several factors. So it includes the complexity of the behavior, your actually unique characteristics. And here are where the common estimates kind of come in based upon research. So it can take 18 days to 254 days for a person to form a new habit, with the average being 66 days. So again, that 21-day rule, totally out the window. And this suggests that forming new behavior can take a couple months. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a week. And habit formation varies based upon individual differences and the nature of the behavior. So I'm going to showcase how this can, I'm just going to say, speed up your desire for habit change, or how it can also, on the flip side, take you 254 days. Oh, let's say you decide to take up something that your brain finds extremely desirable. But let's just say it's not great for you. Let's say that you decide to take up crack. It's not going to take 66, 21, or even 18 days for your brain to be like, I want to make this a regular behavior because this feels good, right? And by the way, please do not do crack. I'm just using this as an example. It's a bad one, but it's one that everybody can understand. The point is that when our brains ultimately find something intensely pleasurable, the time frame of making it a habit is much quicker. It shortens. So that's where that shorter side of that habit building can occur, right? So if the habits that you're trying to create don't give you immediate gratification, they are going to take longer to overcome. Surprise, surprise, I know. So we have to do them repetitively to gain pleasure in them and to make it habitual. And then the last little piece that we get to overcome, if that wasn't enough, is the existing neural pathways of whatever we have been doing. So I refer to it as kind of like a groove. So it's a well established pathway, and your new habits are going to have fierce competition against your already established groove as to who wins out on whether you make it stick or not. So at this point, if you're feeling like, well, shit, this is hopeless, pause. It's not. I'm just pointing out that there are more factors in play going on than maybe you're giving yourself credit for. Okay. And pure willpower is not necessarily going to get you that change. All right. So I'm hoping this actually gives you some relief, because this isn't going to be a personal reflection of you. It's really our brain's evolutionary development in play here. So there's things outside of you that are happening. Now, how can we hijack this evolutionary development? Well, here's the trick. We're going to figure out how to make it more enjoyable. So back to my first point. Your alarm goes off. You're all groggy. Your body's throwing out those hormones that are like, nah, ignore your alarm. Please don't change. This is very difficult for all of us. Now, let's say you manage to overcome that hurdle. You're still very groggy. And if you try to go straight into something you're not convinced that you like anyways, how much more of a battle do you think is going on in your head, right? But, my friends, you prepped the night before. And not only do you exactly know what your plan is, but you've laid it all out and you have all the things ready to make it possible right there waiting for you. How much easier is that? How much nicer is that? How much more enjoyable is that? You can thank your past self, because you're already ahead of the curve here. Now, I'm going to advocate that you give your brain some doses of things to look forward to, even in your groggy state. And we're going to try to make them as enjoyable as they can be. So having a cozy blanket, my cup of coffee, my earbuds, all ready to go. And I plop down on the couch and I have absolute silence around me, and I can meditate quietly, uninterrupted for at least 15 minutes has truly become something that I look forward to every day. So here are my pro tips on how to make this habit stick faster than 66 days. So number one, I want you to write down what your ideal morning routine looks like. And don't do what someone else's idea of a good morning is. I want you to use you and your life and what's happening for you and what you actually want to be doing. Because when your brain is throwing off those like, knock that off hormones, the more enjoyable it is for you, the sooner it will stick. Step number two, I want you to think about how much time these activities are going to take you. And then I want you to add some buffer, because each of these activities, especially as you're learning your new routine and habit, are going to take a little bit longer than you anticipate. Step number three, review your ideal morning routine, how much time you think it's going to be take, including that little buffer time, and then look at how much time you actually have to do it. Now, if you have plenty of time to do all of the things on your list, that's wonderful. Great. I want you to roll with that. But let's say that you have overloaded your ideal morning routine list based upon the realities of your life. Now I want you to kind of trim and readjust, and or give yourself a few mornings where you try your ideal routine and adjust accordingly. Step number four, I want you to set an automatic reminder on your telefono, and it is going to say something to the effect of like, prep for my morning. And I want you to spend a few minutes every night, the night before, getting all the things ready. So if you decide that you want to meditate and you want to do a little yoga, and maybe you want to fold laundry or take care of some other kind of care tasks in your life, well, get all those things together, right? Have them all ready to go so that when you wake up, you just move right into it. Step number five, if it isn't self-evident by this point, I want you to write it all down. Because again, in that groggy state, you're going to be like, what do I want to do? Don't do yourself that disservice. I want you to write everything out in the order that you want to do it, so that again, in that groggy state, you can be like, yep, I was going to make coffee, and then I was going to meditate. And I was going to exercise for 20 minutes, and I was going to put away all of that laundry. Again, just write it down so that no additional thinking is required for you in the morning. The time that it takes for you and your brain to adapt to this new behavior, I want you to remind yourself, give yourself some grace. You need to be patient as well as persistent in creating these new habits and overcoming the hurdles that your body is actually putting in place for you, because that brain is trying to hijack your efforts. So give my prep system a try and see if that helps make your habits stick quicker. And while you're at it, go ahead and watch all of my other 5 a.m. videos so that you can get a well rounded experience on how to start your day on the right foot every day. But until next time, thank you, Mama. Bye.